The Mario Wiki is one of my favorite websites to go on, not just because I like the Mario series and many of its spin-offs, but mostly because of how broad and all-encompassing the wiki is. Given how big of a brand Mario is, there's a lot of random stuff on the wiki. If you go to the Mario Wiki right now and you hit random page, there's an equal chance you'll get Yoshi's Island World 6-2, then you'll get Lenin's tomb. It's very silly and fascinating and funny. So that's why I want to make a video to capture some of the weirder elements I found on the wiki, some of the lesser known, more odd sides of this brand, and a little bit about what the Mario Wiki says about them. Because you might know a lot of weird and random things about the Mario series, but the Mario Wiki can always show you more. It's well-known information that the Super Mario Bros. Movie is coming out soon, and some even know that there's a live-action one back in 1993 made in America. But did you know there's a manga of this 1993 movie? Obviously written in Japan. Just look at this cover. Bowser, or Koopa as he's called, looks like this. A pretty big difference from the movie. Yoshi, unfortunately, isn't there. Sad, considering this is what he looks like in the movie. Well, except he is actually in the manga, just not in the plot. And he looks like this. Yeah, cool. There are a few differences in the manga. For example, Spike and Iggy, no relation to Spike and Iggy from the actual Mario series, are villains who get reformed in the movie, but not in the manga, after being turned into Goombas. Koopas are also able to regenerate limbs, because why not? The entire manga is available to read in English with a fan translation. And also, it features an exploding mushroom, which has its own article, and it goes very in-depth for this hyper-specific plot element. While we're on the subject of comics, I want to talk about one of the greatest characters to grace the page of any Mario-related media. One of the worst people ever. He represents the evil that can be found in all of us, in every human soul. Herman Smerge. Game Boy Comics is a comic book series meant to promote Nintendo's Game Boy games, primarily Super Mario Land. Well, Mario, Daisy, and Tatanga are the only named characters who actually come from Nintendo, so it's just to promote Super Mario Land. It's a 4-issue series made by Valiant Comics in 1990, and Herman is a primary character. He, quote-unquote, has a little empathy for others, attempting to distance himself from a homeless Vietnam veteran, and thinking to himself, beggars should be shot. Smerch worked at an electronics store, and he's committing insider theft by stealing Game Boys. That's the type of storytelling the Game Boy comics have. Yeah, Herman frequently acts as a villain in this series by letting Tatanga out of the Game Boy over and over again, and later serving him. But Mario always managed to get out and stop Tatanga. Tatanga is the main villain of Super Mario Land, by the way, in case that wasn't clear. The most unhinged of these 4 issues would probably be Team Play. In this issue, Herman is wanted by the FBI for hijacking a 747, and is on the run from the cops. He steals his mom's car and drives it to China because this one guy told him to. I don't actually know where China is, though. This is Herman we're talking about. He's probably very racist. So they end up landing on some random Pacific island, which they annex despite it being U.S. territory. So they're essentially declaring war on the United States. Tatanga gets out of the Game Boy and steals a bunch of fighter jets, and Mario gets out too and tries to fight him, but is overpowered until he gets an upgrade and is able to banish Tatanga into the Game Boy realm again. Herman flees, goes to a gas station, but then his flying car flies away because you've got to leave it in park. That's Herman. He's a domestic terrorist who lives in his parents' house and hates homeless people. If he's not in the new Mario movie, we riot. Who's ready to invade the United States in the name of our Lord, Herman Smerch? Seriously though, the amount of things you could write and no one would care because it's just a shitty Game Boy comic is astonishing. This next piece of information is something that's a bit well known, more than others, simply because it's covered by Did You Know Gaming, and it's so weird. It's also considered lost media, because the ROM for this has never been found, so some lost media YouTubers have covered it before. I'm talking about Shintamachi Ninjo Gekyo, which translates to Lower City Empathy Theater. This is a series of videos that was broadcast on Super Famicom's in Japan using the Satellaview add-on, from 1995 to 1996. They're made by a Japanese comedian named Lily Frankie, and yes, these are officially licensed Nintendo products, where Mario smokes, and at one point he kills Princess Peach and Toad. In 1.2, Mario and Toad are in jail, and Mario escapes by pulling a spoon from his ass. Bill Gates has an appearance. I'm sure somewhere out there is someone who actually believes this is the reason Banjo and Kazooie and Steve were allowed in Smash. Anyways, the series ends with the guy picking up a controller, controlling Mario, and going to hell to have sex with a lobster. I'm not joking. You know, I've known about this broadcast for a while, and my main question has always been, what the hell are this guy's other projects like? He's a comedian. Like, what does he actually do? And before you tell me to do 2 seconds of research by looking up, I was kidding, I don't actually want to know. Okay, so I clicked on hell, and this kind of just brought me to a whole other page of list of implied locations. Locations that are said to exist but never really shown. One of them is hell. On the Mario Wiki. Most of the other places are cities that were casually mentioned, but this article gives us more information on hell, which is mentioned in a few places. An old Super Mario World manga has Mario die and literally go to hell, despite the fact that if you die in Super Mario World you have a halo. He meets Bowser's ancestor who wants to torture Mario personally. His exact words are, "You killed a lot of minions, and now you expect to go to heaven?" Mario burps in his face, and so Bowser's ancestor gets mad and kicks him out of hell. He kicks Mario out of hell. This mention of hell also brings us to the incredible, the iconic Super Mario in Die Nacht des Garens, however that's pronounced, which translates to the Night of Terrors. The Night of Terrors is a German Club Nintendo comic book strip that ran for Halloween 1995. It centers around Mario, Peach, Luigi, Wario, Link, and Kirby all living in the same apartment. Suddenly, the power runs out, so everyone but Peach goes to investigate, and they see one of the hardest panels to have ever been dropped in Mario history. You see, unsurprisingly, Wario is the landlord of this apartment. He's making a deal with Abagor, the so-called middleman of hell, and a demon who claims to be able to make Princess Peach fall in love with him if he gives away the keys to the apartment. Naturally, Wario does this, and so all of Abagor's minions go to kill people or something. Of course, some of his minions are real horror characters. Chucky, Jason, Leatherface all exist in this comic book universe. Least weird form of German entertainment. Mario, Kirby, and Link fight off some demons till Mario goes to his room and sees this. Princess Peach as a zombie. She only repeats the line, "Your mother scrubs toilets in hell." The trio go to Abagor's temple, armed with some black magic or something, and they send him off. Wario probably faces no repercussions for this. Rest in peace, Abagor. You would have hated Ashley from WarioWare. I also want to mention one more manga real quick. Otenwa Peach Hime, which translates to Tomboy Princess Peach. This is a manga about Princess Peach as a young child, and it ran from 1992 to 1994. Some other Mario characters appear as children, including Pauline, who never made an actual appearance in the Mario game since Donkey Kong, way until Mario vs. Donkey Kong in the 2000s. Anyways, this manga has Peach act quite not Peach-like. The wiki page specifically mentions an issue where she invites all the characters to shower with cicada piss, a bed full of caterpillars, and she makes a hammock full of sap meant to trap Wario for Wendy Okupa. The fuck does Wendy want with Wario? I don't know. Hey, they're children. Get your mind on the gutter. Did you know that the Mario series has multiple, more than 2 appearances of the Berlin Wall? The symbol of oppression and suffering that lasted for 3 decades and divided an entire city now has Lemmy Kuma graffitied on it. Berlin Byways is a track in Mario Kart, notable for appearing in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as a DLC track, which means that Mario Wiki gets to have an article on the Berlin Wall. Nintendo, you could have just not had the Berlin Wall in this track. Anyways, there are also 2 educational Mario games, Mario is Missing and Mario's Time Machine, which have an appearance from The Wall. Mario is Missing is a game meant to teach geography and facts about different countries, sort of like Carmen Sandiego, but with Luigi as the protagonist. And Berlin is a visitable city. Here, Luigi must reopen the Berlin Wall as a tourist destination because the Koopas stole one brick from it, so they somehow closed the entire Berlin Wall because one brick was stolen. How do you close the Berlin Wall? I don't know. It's not like a thing you pay to see. It's just the wall. So clearly Mario's Missing is not thought out its plot. It's not as weird as Mario's Time Machine, though, where Mario time travels back to 1989, and Bowser's minions stole a sledgehammer that was supposed to be used to destroy the Berlin Wall. So he has to return it, so they can actually destroy the wall. I mean, the wall just doesn't get destroyed at all if the sledgehammer is missing all these years later, like somehow even after the Soviet Union collapsed. And the Berlin Wall wasn't even scheduled, so I don't know what the hell. Mario's Time Machine is overall very cursed when it comes to the Mario Wiki, because a lot of historical figures are included. This means the wiki has some weird articles. A lot of historical figures are indeed Mario characters now, and some of them, such as Frederick Douglass, suggest some pretty bad things, like slavery in the Mario universe. The page on Mario's Time Machine itself also has a huge list of historical inaccuracies. If you're into history and bored one day, I recommend looking at this list because it's actually pretty interesting. Did you know if Mario offers Edmund Haley an apple, he says he already ate one to keep the doctor away, even though that phrase hasn't been invented until the 1860s? The term interesting is being used somewhat loosely here. So, hey, did you guys know there exists an official crossover between Mario and Inspector Gadget? Yeah, the same company that produces the 1983 Inspector Gadget show makes the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. The Mario TV series is so famous, a song from it was used in marketing material for the upcoming Mario movie. But I digress. There's an episode of the Super Show where Inspector Gadget shows up in the live-action segment to ask the bros to repair him, because that's the thing plumbers do now. He also appears in the DVD release of the show in animated form to guide people through the menus. The show was also Inspector Gadget's first appearance in live action, and the actor who played him would later go on to voice the character in the show. Gadget is not the only famous person to appear in the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. There's a lot of celebrity cameos. One example is the episode Cher's Poochie, which has the boys babysit Cher's dog. This episode also predated the creation of the Yoshi's Island character Poochie, so that's fun as well. It means we get a disambiguation page on the Mario Wiki for Poochie. Also, Mario gets body swapped with Cher's dog. That's certainly a sentence I just said right now. Another celebrity who appears is the wrestler Lou Albano. He plays Mario in the live-action segments, but there's an episode where he's the cameo, because I guess they couldn't get a celebrity that week. Anyways, Captain Lou is missing, and Mario and Luigi have to go find him. Mario conveniently isn't there when he shows up, which Luigi says is too bad. Mario is Lou Albano's biggest fan.
Did you know that you have rights?
He is also mentioned in the TV series The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3 by a random gondolier who, according to the wiki, instead of speaking proper Italian, recites the name of famous Italian people or people of Italian descent. I really wish the wiki had a full transcript of everything he said, but it does not. Instead, only mentioning the Lou Albano thing and one of his lines, which is... I'm not reading that. Now, the episode he's from is called The Venice Menace, where Mario and Luigi have to save Venice from a sea monster. According to Mario, Venice is his second favorite city besides Brooklyn. In the Italian dub, his second favorite city is changed to Sorrento, though, because I guess Venice was too basic for the Italians. Also, I own it on DVD, and hey, that's the episode I just mentioned.
If you do drugs, you go to hell before you die.
So compared to other Mario-related TV shows and media, I think that Super Mario Bros. Super Show is pretty well known, mostly just due to how meme-worthy it is, and it's pretty widely available nowadays. Basically all because of those live-action segments. However, Deke did decide those just weren't cool enough, so they introduced a new live-action segment for the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, Club Mario. Club Mario features two extreme Mario-obsessed teenagers, Tommy Treehugger and Co-MC, instead of doing the whole Brooklyn Plumbers and celebrity cameo thing. It just has them run around a studio goofing off. They even frequently harass Andy Wayhard, who is the executive producer of the show. They had literally no reason to introduce these segments, and so unsurprisingly, it was pretty unpopular. Later reruns would use the old sketches, making this a bizarre footnote in Mario adaptation history, because these segments were meant to replace the old ones, and that was a complete failure. Deke even destroyed the tapes used to film these, making them extremely hard to find. On the subject of lost media, King Koopa's Cool Cartoons. Oh boy, are you ready for this? So right off the bat, let's be glad this wasn't called the Koopa's Cool Cartoons, considering what the acronym would be. Anyways, this is a live-action show also centered around someone harassing TV show employees. Only, it's a live-action version of King Koopa, who hosts his own TV show. He would gather a bunch of children to become his minions, and read fan mail and ask trivia questions. He would also play public domain 1920s and 30s cartoons in the middle of a segment. The wiki has a part that just says, known cartoons, Muppet Babies, and I have no idea what that means. That's clearly not a 1920s or 30s public domain cartoon. Anyways, the original actor for King Koopa was named Christopher Collins, and during the production of the show, he allegedly made sexually suggestive comments to women and racist comments as well, telling a group of African American children, "Where are you guys from, Biafra or something?" He was fired in an incident involving yelling at children, and was replaced by Patrick Piney, who you may know as the painting pirate from the beginning of SpongeBob episodes. According to a concerned parent who was published in the Los Angeles Times, the show was frightening to audiences, and the dirty underwear segment was disgusting. The show sounds like an absolute train wreck. Anyways, the show was cancelled because Michael Eisner, president of Disney, personally sent them a letter to tell them, "You gotta cancel this shit." Anyways, did you know there's a comic where Mario almost eats a child? It's those Germans again. I won't go as in depth with this comment as I did last time, but basically there's a German comic called Ich sag niemals Holero, which translates to Never Say Holero, where Mario, Bomberman, and TikTok from Diddy Kong Racing have to team up, go across Europe to fight a demon named Heini who spreads a song called Holero, which turns you into a food item if you eat it. And I'm just gonna quote the wiki here. The background of Mario trying to eat the cutlet that turns out to be a human in disguise is a pun. In German, the word Kinderschnitzel literally means cutlet children. So it can mean a cutlet made for children or a cutlet made of children. And Mario expected a cutlet made for children, but instead got a cutlet made of children. You know, child cannibalism. Later on in this comic, Mario gains the ability to turn toilet brushes into zippers, and the villain turns out to be Cthulhu. You know, I bet they know there's going to be a Mario Wiki one day, and they make these deliberately to screw with people like me. Another detail of the Mario Wiki I find amusing is that it counts Super Smash Bros. As a Mario series. I guess because its name was inspired by Mario. And this can catch some people off guard when they see Sephiroth, Mario Wiki, or Bayonetta, Mario Wiki. And this is not necessarily weird, but it is surprising at first. So I wanted to end this video with a bang. What I did is went to the Mario Wiki and hit random page over and over again to try to find if I could somehow top the domestic terrorism I started this video with. And look, I love the fact that there's a random page, but it is pretty hard to actually get weird things on it. You know, more often than not, you're just going to get every single Toad in Mario, or like every micro game in WarioWare. But then I found something that was just so Not even weird. Just random, and I knew I had to talk about it. That is Nintendo website's customizable chore chart. Now this is weird, okay? It is weird that a Mario Wiki page goes so in-depth with a chore chart from the Nintendo Wiki, which has Mario characters, and is like just weird. It's just so in-depth. For a chore chart, presumably distracts from your chores. It has a page, it has a thing at the bottom that says you need 30 stars to get a degree in oncology. I don't know why that's there. I don't think that's true. I don't think anyone who's played Super Mario 64 can get a degree in oncology and probably cure cancer by now. At least by the logic of this chore chart. But it's not as weird as like lobster bestiality or child cannibalism or, all the instances of domestic terrorism. But it is very, very weird that someone dedicated their life on this wiki, probably minutes, maybe even at least an hour of their time, making a page about a customizable chore chart from the Nintendo Wiki, from the Nintendo website. That probably doesn't even work anymore. And you know what? I think there's a beauty in that. Nintendo is a company that's notoriously bad with preservation. And a few minutes ago, you just heard me talk about how Deke just destroyed tapes for an unpopular thing. But fans preserve it all. Even if it's weird, even if it's not that weird, fans will remember it. And it'll be on the internet probably forever. Nintendo could make a press release starring Mario where he says they're no longer going to make games due to the impending heat death of the universe. And within minutes, there's going to be a page on the Mario Wiki saying the Earth's destruction. Fans really do dedicate their lives to this wiki, and that's what makes it great. The fact that you can get like World 5-2 from New Super Mario Bros. Wii, or a canonical mention of slavery in the Mario universe. And thanks to these wikis, no corner of a franchise history is too weird or obscure to get mentioned and preserved. Hey, do you think that that Mario having a toilet brush zipper ability is a reference to how Princess Peach says his mother scrubs toilets in hell? No? Okay. Thanks for watching. I will see you later.